Hello everyone, welcome once again to Gotham Discussions. I'm Captain Logan, and with me is Steve Baxi.
Hi everybody.
Today we're talking about the latest episode of Gotham. It's Welcome Back, Jim Gordon. Welcome back. And we're going to go ahead and start right away with Steve Baxi. He's going to give us his feelings, his immediate feelings about the episode and a best moment, worst moment. Jim Gordon back finally, but not really all that finally. It was pretty darn quick. Back at the police station. And go ahead, Steve.
So everything after about the Black Mask episode onward, Black Mask I like, but after that, it's been kind of stagnated and really bad. I haven't enjoyed it. I think Welcome Back, Jim Gordon is basically Welcome Back quality. I actually really liked this episode. I thought it was great.
Oh, wow, okay. Ooh, we may have to disagree a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it, but I thought it was fantastic. Fantastic for Gotham. The thing with Jim being played up as being pretty clearly unhinged, and him trying to investigate this murder and trying to figure out the ideals of what the police are, while at the same time working around the system and just perpetuating what he doesn't want, and seeing this really big imbalance between what the police are now and what the criminal underworld is now, and that being reflected in this character. I thought all that was great. My best moment is I think my statement of the episode is after Jim is able to successfully arrest Flash, and saying, well, this is what the badge means and all that, Delaware is in the back alley, and he's begging him to leave his family alone. And you just see in Gordon's face, like, to get this justice, he had to make this compromise. It's a really sad moment. My worst moment, though, is Fish being tortured, mostly because I'm finally seeing what people are talking about with Fish being played too over the top. I thought it worked earlier, but now she's just really crazy. And she's almost Joker level, and that's unnecessary. I didn't care for the Fish stuff. I didn't care for the stuff with Penguin's mom. I thought a lot of that was just killing time.
Yeah.
But what we got between Penguin and Jim in the police department was just, I don't know, I thought it was fantastic.
Okay, I can see why you're saying that. I think you're trusting it more than I am right now, Steve. I'm not invested. I haven't been for a while, and this episode didn't really help me that much. I think I am too fixated on some stuff we got from previous episodes that make me not sure if I should more appreciate what they're doing with Jim and because his speech at the end is great. I mean, I'm with you there. You know, when he has that speech about how this guy put his life on the line for the sake of justice, and then the police killed him. That's powerful. That's heavy. That's really super sad. But I still don't know where it comes from with him. I feel like I still don't know why Jim is willing to put himself in front of the on the train tracks all the time. And I mean, like, for the sake of this one guy, I mean, if I was watching this episode outside of the rest of it, yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. But you know that he does it in this particular situation. But I still feel like he's got plot armor. I still feel like he's able to get away with stuff he shouldn't be able to get away with just because he's the main character. And I also feel like he's not nearly enough of the focal point. Jim feels now too much of a part of this universe. The whole Jim being unhinged thing is not working for me because everybody else is that way. And if he came into Gotham and seemed really clean-cut and everything, and then Gotham changed him, okay. But right now, it feels like I'm not sure he wasn't always that way. I don't know, man. I don't have anything to grab onto right now. That's just how I feel, especially because you get to the end, and I don't know that I'm being fair or whatever. It's just this is my immediate, feeling watching it, and I didn't watch this one twice. When you get to the end of this, and you've got that moment with Fish and Harvey Bullock, I felt like the show is really confused about who it wants us to like and who it wants us to be really interested in psychologically. When you've got that moment with her where she's got to leave the city and Bullock feels really bad for her, I don't know where I'm supposed to be right there. Because, as you said, she's insanely over the top earlier when she's being tortured. She's she's a two-dimensional, out there insane archetype, which I was totally fine with until they tried to make me sympathize with her. I don't know why Bullock sympathizes with her. I mean, I appreciate that they have a good working relationship. That got personal in a way I couldn't decide if I bought. My best moment is Gordon's speech at the end. I think it's really good. My worst thing is the Nigma and Kringle thing. Just get there already, man. I mean, I'm so sick of stringing that along. And they developed it more here than they have so far. Finally, she starts to kind of sympathize with him a little bit. I like that they didn't go too far with it. With them like jumping from he's a creepy stalker to now she really likes him and is going to date him. I'm glad they didn't do that, but I am wondering where that's going, because I like the guy who's playing Nigma a lot, and I feel like right now what they're giving him to do is kind of lame, although I do feel like I'm getting a good sense of who he is. I mean, he's you know, he's really antisocial and you know, messed up in the head, and also, some of it's a taste issue. I don't love that kind of awkward stuff, but it makes sense for the Riddler, so I don't know. I think I'm liking his characterization more than I'm liking the situation that he's in right now.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the Peripheral stuff is just, I'm not crazy about it. It's either moving too quickly or too slowly, and I don't really sympathize with it. But I think, as far as the focus that I can draw out with Gordon and Bruce, both of that was really working, and thankfully Bruce is finally back in the show.
I wasn't in love with it. The Bruce Selina thing I thought was pretty forced.
I don't know. I thought it worked kind of naturally, considering what happened last time they met with Selina being the target of an assassin.
What about that?
Well, I mean, okay, so she and her Bruce developed a bit of a relationship, and then she found out that she's being the one being chased by this assassin, and so Bruce having to look at run after her, changing her way of life. We talked a little bit earlier about how that character is stuck in her ways, doesn't necessarily want to change. Yeah. I thought her forcing Bruce to face so quickly worked, and then Alfred immediately telling Bruce to snap out of it worked with what he's trying to build Bruce into.
Well, I like that too. I like the way Alfred handled it, and I like that we're trying to get back to basics with that a little bit, where she's, yeah, okay, so the Bruce side of it, I'm with you on. I'm just not sure about the way, about the Selina part of that exchange. The whole like, I don't know, I'll look at my notes and think about it, I guess, but anyway, yeah, she's been a huge distraction for him, and he's kind of lost sight of what he was trying to do in the first place, in trying to figure out what exactly he's going to do with his parents' murder, and trying to build himself into a thing. I think it's less about what Alfred's trying to build him into, and more about what Bruce was originally trying to build himself into. And I think it's really interesting that Alfred is that at first Alfred was trying to get him to have more of kind of a normal childhood, and that might be turning around slightly. I don't know. I wonder if Alfred's not going to accidentally put him back on the path that he got him out of in the first place, and if it's not this catch-22 of, well, is being with Selina any more or less dangerous than, you know, him putting his hand in flames all day.
Yeah, I mean, I think the challenge Alfred faces with that is working, at least from my perspective, with, he wants him to be a normal kid, but the moment he turns it into an obsession. So he's either obsessed with one thing or the other, and he can't strike a balance. So if it's going to be one, it might as well be the Batman stuff. And I think that's working, and I think the more we get the relationship, it might develop it. I think it's what you said earlier, with me trusting the show at this point a little bit more. Because I see what you're saying about us not being able to latch on certain characters, but I think, at least what we got back with Jim, it felt a lot like we're back to what Jim was in the pilot, but a little bit crazier given how long he's been here. And I think that works.
I want to see more episodes before I can appreciate that. It does. Weirdly, it's almost like last week, and I hate to say this, it almost feels like we had a writer last week who didn't understand that character, and it was Ben Edlund, and that bothers me.
Yeah, it's hard to say where this show is going, one way or the other, because it seems to wane quality so quickly. Like, one week is fantastic, one week is terrible, so I don't know what to predict at this point.
Well, and what's really funny about it is that, for some reason, I still look forward to the show every week. I mean, I think some of it is performances. I love the guy playing Penguin. I love Falcone. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the show that I look forward to seeing, but I don't feel like they have a direction. The structure is really wonky. Last week we do the Barbara thing in just kind of putting a pin in that and saying, okay, she's at her parents' house, and that's an awkward relationship. And then this week she's not even in it, which, usually I kind of cheer and say yay, but but it's sort of like, I don't know. This is either going to be a show that watches much much better when you binge it, or it's just really really super meandering and they don't know what they're doing. It's one of those two things. I don't know. I got to go back to the Selina thing. I guess what my issue was with that. I'm juggling 6 shows tonight. I guess my issue is that with that was mostly that I didn't like that she lied to Bruce about seeing his parents kill his face. That was that. I don't like that she's toying with him about stuff like that. I feel like they had too much of a connection for her to do him that way. But once again, it's just this awkward thing of I don't know what the show is doing. So I'm not saying that when characters I like necessarily do, mean things to people, that it's always bad just because I don't like that they did that. There could be a character place for going. There could be there could be an arc there. There could be some growth, or she might just be that way and has good reasons for being that way because of the way she's been on the streets and all that. I just don't know right now. So my immediate reaction to that was, I feel like they've created too much of a bond for her to treat him like that. It feels like she could have come up with a better excuse, and that just felt like I got lights that go off in my head when I go easy TV thing, and that was one of those.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I completely agree with that, because I think the bond they had was almost just Selina likes being chased around or being on the run with Bruce.
Do you think?
But there was a lot with her early on in the first couple episodes where she's finding attachment and she's not really sure if she can handle it or she really understands it. So the moment she has it with Bruce, especially considering that one episode where they were in the mansion together and neither one of them really got each other, they just enjoyed their company.
Yeah.
I think all that works in the fact that she doesn't want to be with Bruce because she doesn't understand what's going on there. She's still a kid. She doesn't understand how close that bond really works.
Yeah,
or whether
okay.
or not she even really wants it.
And maybe it's an issue of, okay, I mean, maybe you're selling me a little bit better on it, Steve, because I could see it as an issue of she's resisting Bruce because she wants to remain independent. That's also all she knows. And she doesn't like the idea of relying on anyone because she doesn't trust anyone, and she's only survived as long as she has with the skills that she has in living alone. But even with all those skills, she's still a child, and she still acts like a child.
Yeah, and I mean, they made a really good case for that. Like, they grow up a little bit on the streets, but at the end of the day, when they're with other kids, they are other kids. So how can she simultaneously be a kid with Bruce, be Cat where she needs to be?
Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe there's a little bit of she doesn't want to feel responsible for another person. She, even with Ivy, like, she helps her a little bit, but she won't be like a mother figure or a sister figure or anything for her.
Yeah, exactly. She seems to be operating almost on like a favor system of just help who you can if you can get something out of it.
Yeah, that's true. But then there are moments where we can see some legitimate affection for people that she resists real hard. Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I think, okay. Maybe you're right about that.
I agree with you, though. I think the biggest problem we're having with the show is there's just too many characters, and a lot of them don't get enough to do, and a lot of them just circle around on plot points that don't work.
Yeah.
Like you said with the Riddler, I don't like that. I don't like the stuff with Penguin's mom. The Fish Mooney stuff, I could take or leave. You need to give her a character before you do anything now.
Let me tell you what I like about the Fish thing. I like that we didn't get her immediately back into the place she was before. I kind of thought they were going there. I kind of thought she'd take back the club, and now it would be her versus Falcone like we thought it was going to in the first place. One thing I can give the show right now is that it's not completely predictable.
Yeah, and that's something we were asking for early on, where we don't want it to follow the straight Batman mythos, and it's certainly doing its own thing, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so I mean that's nice. I still like her performance.
Yeah, it's hard to say though, because I don't see how she went that crazy, Because there was an over-the-topness that was there before, and now she's just kind of wacko.
See, I don't know. Maybe it's that the show doesn't understand who she is, and the actress can't either because of the script she's given. But I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
There are things.
There's a little bit of like they do things because the stereotypical feeling of the situation. Like the thing with Butch, he's really loyal. I have no idea why.
No, that's a really good point. That was a thing that I said last week, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, that I thought it was really interesting that he seems to be the one person in this world that's not just out for himself. And in this world, I mean the corrupt crime part. And some people disagreed with me on it and thought that he had some kind of endgame. And he puts himself completely on the line. He takes a bullet for her in this, and I guess it's hard to say anything right now about a lot of pieces of the show, Steve, except, well, that's interesting. I guess we'll see where it goes, and, that's problematic.
I'll say this much. The preview for next week's episode, the two-parter with Scarecrow, was actually really exciting.
Okay, I didn't look at it.
Yeah, it didn't give anything away like the Constantine previews.
Did you have any quotes? I don't have any written down for this one.
Neither did I.
Okay.
Gordon's speech I liked, but he didn't say any like combination of words or anything that stood out.
I had a couple of kind of potential intriguing comic references, Steve. I thought it was kind of funny that Ivy called Bruce millionaire Bruce Wayne. That's a callback. That's because nobody would actually call people that, like in present day. And I realize the show's kind of out of time, but that's that '60s Batman thing of it's always millionaire and it's always millionaire Bruce Wayne, and it's always his young ward. His youthful ward, so, and I'm pretty sure before Fish interrupts Penguin when he's on stage that he was gonna call it the Iceberg Lounge. They interrupt him. They have him get interrupted at kind of a prime opportunity for a reference, and I kind of think that's what's going on there.
Yeah, I really hope that's eventually what it's called. That'd be cool.
So where do you think where do you think that's going to go with Penguin? I mean, because my big question right now is where the heck is Maroni?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
How can he be on Fish's club, being the front man for Falcone, and Maroni knows nothing yet, or hasn't said anything, or sought him out, or tried to kill him like Fish did?
This show is just not real smart sometimes about where people are and what they're doing. Like, we're supposed to just not think about those things, because last episode you really got the sense that Penguin being in Maroni's inner circle is like around all the time, and he's only allowed to leave when Falcone tells him he can't. What's he doing right now? Not Falcone, I'm sorry, Maroni. What in Maroni's mind is Penguin doing right now?
Yeah, and he's supposed to be running that restaurant that Maroni gave him, isn't he? What happened to that?
Yeah, what happened to that? I have no idea. There's just all these weird logistical things that I don't feel like the show really deals with. It likes to kind of brush that stuff under the rug. And once again, I'm frustrated because I feel like it's playing itself like the storytelling's a lot smarter than it is. And even in this episode, I still think, although I don't know, you got me a little bit with the Bruce stuff, I'm glad he's back. But once again, it's like, why didn't we have him for 2 episodes? He's juggling way too many characters right now. I think
explain that, but it's still a little bit weird.
Yeah, but then you have like really kind of forced, shoehorned exposition, just reminding you in case you forgot what happened last time we saw them. There's some of that, and we keep bringing in as many characters as humanly possible from the con. So of course it's Flash now. We keep doing that, and it's okay. It's kind of fun that we keep seeing people that we've heard of if we're Batman fans, but it just feels like the universe is too cluttered with characters right now. I also thought it was weird that we didn't see Leslie Tompkins in this episode after the big makeout thing at the end of last episode, and I wish we would just not do relationship stuff at all if we can't be a little classier about it. Not classier, but you know what I mean, like less typical.
Yeah, agreed. I liked Leslie in her first appearance, and they just force a romance with her, and I don't know where it comes from in a character place, and I thought that whole scene was just awkward, and now we don't even really get much talk about it.
Well, I want to answer a couple of questions, comments here real quick. Peter Parker, I'm tired of Gotham in general, and I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now, Steve. I feel bad about that, because like I said,
yeah,
every week I get kind of excited to live in this world because I love the aesthetic, I love the atmosphere, I love most of the acting and stuff. It's fun to live there. but I don't think I'm liking talking about it. If as much as some of the other things, and I think the reason I'm so disappointed is because by episode 3 or 4, I felt like you and I were having some really interesting, intricate conversations about the show, and right now it's a lot of just wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, we got to the Balloon Man, and we got to the Sacred Spirit of the Goat and Viper, and there was really interesting philosophical stuff going on there, and then it just all stopped.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you something. The guy... I should say that the informant that gets killed in the beginning, I thought that guy was a really good actor, and I felt really bad for him.
Yeah, so did I.
And the fact
I like how much the plot revolved around him and how much Gordon used him to get justice.
Yeah, the fact that like, it's so corrupt that you can rule that a suicide when he got stabbed in the back with an ice pick. That's really sad. And again,
and that no one talks about it in the police station when
no,
he died. Exactly,
yeah. And like they just use people, and some of the police are no better than the mobs. I also really liked seeing Essence step up the way she did.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, that was maybe an easy moment for her too, because there was no sweeping it under the rug anymore with the evidence that Gordon had, I guess. But
there's a little bit of she's still kind of afraid of the system, but with Jim rallying people the way he did, I think that might start to change, and that's actually a little bit exciting. What if it's just a terrible city and we have good cops finally? Does that change anything?
And I think it might, and maybe that'll be our season 2 or something. I like her. I mean, I'm continuing to like her.
Yeah, I love the actress.
I'm actually not looking forward to her and Jim ever having an affair, because every time women are involved in relationships, I immediately dislike them in the show. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. But let me see if there's some other stuff in here. Do you have any trivia questions, Steve?
I do. I've got one.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't come up with a good one for the episode, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, mine's pretty easy, I think. In the comics, who kills Glass?
Okay, so that guy who got killed at the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought I wrote his name down, but I didn't. I thought he had the same last name as the ventriloquist.
Did he?
What is the ventriloquist name?
Wesker?
Yeah, I thought his name was, or it was something I had heard of. I'll have to look that up, because I thought I wrote it down, and I don't seem to have.
Okay, I didn't see that reference. The only big reference I saw in this episode was just Glass.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wonder what that. Maybe it was just something that reminded me of, somebody I'd heard of before. Anyway,
it would be a cool ventriloquist. I think it'd be cool to do a ventriloquist that's kind of old and tired of life and early on in Gotham.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Well, anyway, Steve, go ahead and give us the answer to your trivia question. We'll go ahead and wrap up.
The answer is the Hangman in Batman Dark Victory.
Red Letter and Tealy's got that right. Good job. Well, everybody, thanks always for watching. We sure appreciate it. We'll be with you again with some more Gotham discussions next week. And in the meantime, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Steve Baxi.
Thanks for watching.